Hello everyone. How's it going? Scuba training is normally provided by a qualified instructor who is a member of one or more diver certification agencies or is registered with a government agency. Basic diver training entails the learning of skills required for the safe conduct of activities in an underwater environment, and includes procedures and skills for the use of diving equipment. Safety, emergency self-help and rescue procedures, dive planning, and the use of dive tables or a personal dive computer. Scuba skills that an entry-level diver will normally learn include preparing and dressing in the diving suit, assembly, and pre-dive testing of the scuba set. Entries and exits between the water and the shore route. Breathing from the demand valve, recovering and clearing the demand valve. Clearing water from the mask, and replacing a dislodged mask. Buoyancy control using weights and buoyancy compensator. Finning techniques, underwater mobility, and maneuvering making safe and controlled descents and ascents. Equalization of the ears and other air spaces. Assisting another diver by providing air from one's own supply, or receiving air supplied by another diver. How to return to the surface without injury in the event of a breathing supply interruption. Use of emergency gas supply systems, professional divers. Diving hand signals are used to communicate underwater. Professional divers will also learn other methods of communication. Dive management skills such as monitoring depth and time in the breathing gas supply. Buddy diving procedures, including response to buddy separation underwater. Basic dive planning regarding the choice of entry and exit points, plan maximum depth, and time to remain within no decompression limits. Limited recognition of hazards, emergency procedures, and medical evacuation may be included. How to adapt when facing a strong current, and the ability to remove and reattach gear while underwater. Some knowledge of physiology and the physics of diving is considered necessary by most diver certification agencies. As the diving environment is alien and relatively hostile to humans, the physics and physiology knowledge required are fairly basic, and helps the diver to understand the effects of the diving environment so that informed acceptance of the associated risks is possible. The physics mostly relates to gases under pressure, buoyancy, heat loss, and light underwater. Physiology relates physics to the effects on the human body, to provide a basic understanding of the causes and risks of barotrauma, decompression sickness, gas toxicity, hypothermia, drowning, and sensory variations. More advanced training often involves first aid and rescue skills, skills related to specialized diving equipment, and underwater work skills. Recreational diver training is the process of developing knowledge and understanding of the basic principles, skills, and procedures for the use of scuba equipment so that the diver is able to dive for recreational purposes, with acceptable risk using the type of equipment and in similar conditions to those experienced during training. Recreational, including technical, scuba diving does not have a centralized certifying or regulatory agency and is mostly self-regulated. There are, however, several international organizations of varying size and market share that train and certify divers and dive instructors. And many diving-related sales and rental outlets require proof of diver certification from one of these organizations prior to selling or renting certain diving products or services. Not only is the underwater environment hazardous, but the diving equipment itself can be dangerous. There are problems that divers must learn to avoid and manage when they do occur. Divers need repeated practice and a gradual increase in the challenge to develop and internalize the skills needed to control the equipment, respond effectively if they encounter difficulties, and build confidence in their equipment and themselves. Diver practical training starts with simple but essential procedures and builds on them until complex procedures can be managed effectively. This may be broken up into several short training programs, with certification issued for each stage, or combined into a few more substantial programs with certification issued when all the skills have been mastered. Many organizations exist throughout the world, offering diver training leading to certification. The issuing of a diving certification card, also known as a C card, or qualification card. This diving certification model originated at Scripps Institution of Oceanography in 1952, after two divers died while using university-owned equipment, and the CO instituted a system where a card was issued after training as evidence of competence. Diving instructors affiliated with a diving certification agency may work independently or through a university, a dive club, a dive school, or a dive shop. They will offer courses that should meet, or exceed, the standards of the certification organization that will certify the divers attending the course. Certification of the diver is done by the certification organization on application by the registered instructor. The International Organization for Standardization has approved 6 recreational diving standards that may be implemented worldwide. And some of the standards developed by the World Recreational Scuba Training Council are consistent with the applicable ISO standards, as are equivalent standards published by the Confédération Mondiale des Activités Subaquatiques and the European Underwater Federation. The initial open water training for a person who is medically fit to dive and a reasonably competent swimmer is relatively short. Many dive shops in popular holiday locations offer courses intended to teach a novice to dive in a few days, which can be combined with diving on the vacation. Other instructors and dive schools will provide more thorough training, which generally takes longer. Dive operators, dive shops, and cylinder filling stations may refuse to allow uncertified people to dive with them. Hire diving equipment or have their diving cylinders filled. This may be an agency standard, company policy, or specified by legislation. The safety of underwater diving depends on 4 factors: the environment, the equipment, the behavior of the individual diver, and the performance of the dive team. The underwater environment can impose severe physical and psychological stress on a diver and is mostly beyond the diver's control. Scuba equipment allows the diver to operate underwater for limited periods, and the reliable function of some of the equipment is critical to even short-term survival. Other equipment allows the diver to operate in relative comfort and efficiency. The performance of the individual diver depends on learned skills, many of which are not intuitive. And the performance of the team depends on communication and common goals. Thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to me.